Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Forrest from Sabio. For sins committed in a previous life, I've been with Sabio for a very, very long time. I've been with Sabio for 22 years, and I'm most recently moved into a product area where I'm head of Avaya Solutions, so I look after the strategic direction of our Avaya portfolio.
And I'm Lynsay McEwen. I'm Director of CX Strategy at Sabio. Been with them for about 14 years now, but prior to that I managed our private cloud hosted proposition for Sabio.
So we're going to talk to you about moving your contact centre to the cloud, and when Craig gave me the brief for this session, he said, talk about everything you need to move your contact centre to the cloud in 15 minutes. And I said, thanks very much. So I may rebrand this session as, here's a sample of what you should be thinking about, and come talk to us about the rest of the detail that sits behind that. So firstly, I'd like to throw out a rhetorical question to the room for you to reflect on where you currently are with your cloud contact centre journey. If we follow the law of diffusion of innovation, logic tells us we'll have some early adopters and innovators in the room. So roughly 15% of you will either be, 15% of you will either be born in the cloud as digital natives, or you'll have embraced a rapid transformation strategy over the last few years. We'd love to hear about your experiences in this space, both positive and negative. Come and find us over a coffee or maybe over a beer later on. But for the vast majority of organisations in the room, you'll likely be considering what your cloud contact centre journey could look like, trying to define what constitutes success, how to unlock innovation, and weighing up the associated risks of both embarking on such a journey while weighing the opposing risk of standing still while you sweat your existing infrastructure assets. At Sabio, we're certainly observing that many organisations are stalling for time in this space while they try and wrestle with this difficult decision. And if I could give a single headline takeaway for this session, I'd like to share that we feel you should always start with the customer and advisory experience first and work your way back to the technology, not the other way around. We strongly believe that positive customer and advisory experience underpins the successful relationship between the market-leading organisations and their customers. Successfully striking this balance should be supported, not directed by technology choice. Transformation is difficult. The problem is choice. There's a vast array of providers out there who are keen for you to embrace their technology with a promise that they can resolve all your business challenges very quickly. I would comment that most players in the market certainly have something to offer in this space. There's no such thing as the wrong contact centre journey, only an ill-considered journey. The mistake is to not appropriately reflect on all aspects of such a move. You need to rely on real-world data that you can consume and analyse for yourself. Aligning your business objectives to the vast array of solution providers out there in the market today can be a daunting experience, but ask yourself this question. Who are the best of breed vendors in the market today that both have an innovation focus and have a proven track record of evolving their portfolio over time to meet with the demands of tomorrow? Coupled with that, do you have a technology partner who has the industry experience required to unlock a transformation to the cloud that can help you drive forward innovation today while you consider your customer experience strategy for tomorrow? Before you consider an approach or even a vendor strategy, I'd like to share an analogy with you regarding strategy centred around poker, which is a bit of a passion of mine while I'm away from work, if I ever get the chance. An amateur poker player approaches a professional and asks if they wouldn't mind discussing a recent hand. The professional says, great, I love discussing poker strategy, and then proceeds to ask the amateur 10 questions without a mention of the cards that the amateur's holding in his hand. What was your position at the table? What are the current blinds? How much time is left in this level? Has the action been opened? What are the pot odds? What are the implied odds? And a whole series of questions. The amateur answers all the questions in turn. He's a little frustrated by the questions he's been asked by the pro, but he says, okay, but I've got ace king and I want to understand how to play this hand. The professional replies and says, we have been talking about the hand. These are all the factors that I consider before I consider the cards that are sitting in my hand. If your cloud contact centre journey consists of just looking down at your hand and saying, I need to get to cloud, then you're ignoring all the wide-ranging factors that could be influencing that decision, then you're likely to spend the next couple of years at best standing still, or at worst embarking on a journey that ultimately fails, and you need to go back and reassess your strategy while your competitors leap ahead and reap the benefits of a well-considered approach. Okay, so what options are available to you? At a macro level, you can consider public, private, and programmable cloud transformation journeys. Public cloud offers a contact center platform delivered on a centralized fabric, providing feature-rich, frequently refreshed capabilities and a simple per-user, per-month pricing model. The private cloud approach offers a private solution in a secure environment provisioned on a dedicated infrastructure, ensuring all the benefits of a bulletproof solution that you would expect on your premise environment without the overhead of a complex estate management. And with programmable, you can expect your own highly customizable cloud-native contact center, designed and built with flexibility in mind for both your organization and your customers alike. The answer for you may very well be a hybrid solution that allows you to address multiple business challenges, ensuring that you stay ahead with regards to innovation while minimizing the risk to your core contact center operation. As an experienced, trusted partner, Sabio can support you in any one of these journeys based on the strong partnerships we have in place with the great market-leading vendors that you can see on the slide behind me. And if you've not already done so, all of these vendors are here. Please go and have a conversation with them. In order to arrive at the right contact center journey for you that truly fits your organisation, it's essential that you ask yourself the right questions and are brutally honest with yourself when it comes to answering those questions. And I don't mean do we need feature A over feature B. At a more fundamental level, what are you trying to achieve with your contact centre migration strategy? What's in your DNA as an organisation will infer the right type of journey for you as an organisation. So if you don't have a strong development capability, you don't have a DevOps mentality, then a programmable journey may not be right for you. If you operate in a highly regulated vertical and voice criticality or voice availability is critical to you, then maybe today public cloud is not right for you. If managing the overhead of maintenance schedules and complex connectivity demarcation sounds like a bit of a headache, then private cloud may not be right for you at this stage. It's critical if you need to change your DNA, if you're reacting to the changing demands of your customers, and you need, through a cloud migration strategy, you're looking to change your DNA, be mindful of the fact of the ability of your organisation and the willingness of them to make this sort of change. Are you ready to embrace the volume of change necessary to realise the benefits of the successful migration to the cloud? One repeating theme that we see at Sabio time and time again is the my old platform approach, where customers are reaching for benefit realisation for a given strategy that they've embarked on, but they can't let go of the processes that have been ingrained by the previous technology that may well have been in place for many, many years. Ask the question, can we truly let go and adapt our approach at all levels of the organisation, not just the senior stakeholder view? And what is the realistic timelines for the migration of not just the technology, but the operational approach that underpins the inner workings of your business? And finally, the greatest source of truth when embarking on this level of reflection will come from your customers and your service advisors. They know you best. Ask them the question. And finally, in summary, I'd just like to underline the fact that moving to the cloud is not the answer to your business challenges. It isn't the destination for your business, it's the first step through the door. If you take this step with a considered approach, it will allow you to unlock the pathway to innovation, which, well executed and supported, will lead to exceptional customer experience and agent experience alike. So I'd like to hand over to Lynsay just to talk a bit about doing this in the real world with Sabio.
Thanks, Derek. Thank you. Hello again. You're a lot closer this time. It's a bit unnerving. Derek used the poker analogy to talk about the questions that you need to ask yourself on your journey to cloud. From an operational perspective, I like to use our consumer journey to electric cars to kind of explain in a little bit more detail that move to cloud. So for those of you who do really short, uncomplicated journeys, you just pop around the town, then a move to an electric car seems like a no-brainer. And again, from a contact center perspective, if you've got uncomplicated customer journeys, you're maybe a digital native, then a move to a public cloud solution straight away absolutely seems or could be the right move for you. But if you're like me, and you travel up and down the country quite a lot and you use a lot of mileage, then a move to a purely electric car seems like quite a daunting thing. You get to that service station, you try and plug into the charger, you're never sure if it's going to be available or not, then that just adds added time and stress onto your journey. And a move like that for me would result in me having to plan my journey mile by mile. I'd have to add extra time and extra pressure that I just really don't need. And at the moment, that move for me, the infrastructure and the technology hasn't quite caught up yet to allow me to have that perfect customer experience that I'm looking for. And again, the same could be said for those of you in your contact centres that are on your cloud journey. You've spent years building up those customer experiences. You've got more complicated and complex and more challenging setups. The move to cloud might seem like a daunting one, and you're not quite sure who or where to turn to take that next step. And in the earlier slide that Derek showed you, that bell curve, we see roughly about 50% of the market who know that they're going to need to make a change at some point in the future. They need to stay relevant to their customers and that demand, and also market demand that's moving as well. But you need to make those decisions based on not impacting your agents, your customers, or your business in a negative way. So we normally see there being about 5 main reasons or buckets that people want to make a move to cloud. Number 1 is cost. So, energy prices are rising, cost of hosting is rising. On-premise is becoming much more expensive to manage for what is a depreciating asset. Second is security. So what we've seen with the recent Log4j or Log4Shell vulnerability is that, security is much, much harder to manage because attacks are much more widespread and much easier to happen. Number 3 is innovation. So like I said, aging on-premise estates make innovation that little bit harder. You have to either spend thousands or millions of pounds upgrading your estate to even just take that first step into innovation, or you just stand still because you can't do it on that aging on-prem platform. Number 4 is scalability and flexibility. You no longer want to have to invest in 4,000 or 5,000 agent licenses to manage your peak. You want to be able to move and flex with the market and with your customer demands. So scalability and flexibility is a big one. We see our customers want to move to cloud. And finally, ESG, so environmental, social, and governance is now at the heart of most people's strategies and visions. And many are seeing that move out of their data centres and into another person's data centres as a way to really quickly make a mark on their carbon footprint. However, I would challenge you that moving your servers from one data centre to another isn't actually doing that much for the environment. You've got to look at that bigger picture in terms of virtualisation and reducing the overall size of your estate. So we at Sabio, we don't believe that your journey has to be black and white. We don't believe that you need to make a choice between on-prem or public cloud, and your decision doesn't need to be immediate or non-reversible. We believe in giving you the options to take that journey at your own pace while providing you all of the benefits that your business craves. So you can continue to sweat some of your assets that you've invested all those thousands of pounds in. We can continue to give you and manage those critical services in a robust and secure way, and we can allow you to scale and innovate around what makes sense for you, not just necessarily what's coming out of the box. We don't believe that there's a one or the other approach. We believe in giving you the best of both worlds, which is on the slide here, and that is private cloud plus public cloud, all wrapped up into one neat service. We can take away all of the pain around patching and security and maintenance that everyone has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. We can take away some of those challenges around ESG that you have by removing some of that carbon footprint, but also working with a partner who has ESG at the heart of their strategy. And we can work with your business processes. We get to know your teams. We get to know and understand what's important for you, so you don't have to change your processes to fit in with the technology, and your partner in the technology fits in with you. And you get the best of those both worlds. But most importantly, you get the time. You get the time to make those really important customer decisions around what's next for you. But it's easy to stand up here and give you the sales pitch or the sales jargon. So what I wanted to really do today was give you in the real world, what does that journey from on-prem to private and public cloud look like in the real world? So I wanted to give you a customer journey. So our customer was a large enterprise customer. They had over 3,000 agent seats, and they were based out of 3 data centres in the UK, and they had a legacy on-premise estate that was over 200 servers. They had a partner that did little in the way of innovation or even movement with them in over 20 years. And they were really stuck in terms of what they wanted to do, and they were really running the risk that they were going to be on an unsupported, unsecure, and unmanageable estate. The estate was so old when Sabio took it over that we couldn't back out any of it off to vendor. It was costing the customer hundreds of thousands of pounds a year to manage, all the while having no secure SLAs or management in place for that estate. The customer suffered multiple critical incidents every week, and that was costing them thousands of pounds in lost revenue because they weren't able to remediate during the day due to a lack of resiliency. And they were faced with the very real and present danger that upgrading their estate was going to cost them millions, and it was going to be a massive headache to them, and it was going to be massively business impacting. And they had an organisational restructure going on as well, just to add to the mix, and they were no longer going to be able to manage that estate in-house any longer. So they came to Sabio and asked us to help them take them on that journey to get them back to an estate that they could be proud of. So Sabio stepped in, we took on their legacy estate, and we gave them what we call a safe pair of hands to help manage that while they worked through their journey in terms of what was going to be right for them. And it very quickly became obvious that our cloud proposition was going to be the right move for them. In just 9 months, we took this legacy, unsecure, complicated estate that hadn't changed in the last 20 years, and we moved it into our hosted data centres, reduced their footprint, and we provided the customer with a fully managed, secure, and cost-effective service. Their critical incidents dropped by over 95%, and they now have a stable, maintained solution that is kept up to date, patched, and is what they were looking for. But more than this, and probably the most important part, is we did it with very little impact to their agents and their customers. We moved them over to technologies that they were used to, so the agents were using the same technology that they did on the Tuesday that they were using on the Wednesday, which made the move easy and pain-free. And we built side by side, which meant the cutover was simple and manageable. They reduced their costs and their risks overnight by doing that cutover, and they reduced all of that pain that they'd felt for so long. The move freed up time, budget, and resource, and that customer is now able to look forward. They don't have to worry about that estate because Sabio is managing that for them now. They can look forward to what's next for them and how they want to innovate and grow. They now have the chance to review why their customers call them, and we can use technologies like Sabio's ICNA and Console and all these good public cloud technologies to harness the power of public cloud for what's right for them. It's a well-thought-out, simplistic model, and it makes sense for so many customers that just need that time and space to make the right decision and what's next. So finally, as Derek said, as you've heard earlier, cloud is not the answer to your problems. It's not you just shift on technology and everything goes away. You need to know what you want to do. Start with that customer journey and how you can make those customer experiences better and choose what is right for you. Sabio's hosted proposition allows you to gain those real-world improvements. It allows you to innovate where you need to, and it gives yourself the time to make those next right decisions. And as everyone else has said, we're over here. So these kind of two booths over here, we can talk to you more about the power of on-demand, power of private cloud, power of hosted. Please come and find us, have a chat, have a beer, have a cup of tea. I can relax now. All my stuff's done. So yeah. So thank you very much.